People of power, welcome to Mount Fitness MBS, where I am your host, Brother Minister Mongoose. And if you are new to the channel, guys, this is a holistic mind, body, and spirit ministry that dares to address, to investigate any and all situations that are related to the human experience. Absolutely no subject matter is considered taboo, whether they be so-called positive or negative, investigating the light and or the darkness. Because this ministry believes that he don't give us anything for us to neglect or turn a blind eye to. He didn't give you the 3 U's for you to neglect or fall out of balance in either of those categories, because they are symbiotically related. So there's a mental you, a physical you, and a spiritual you. He gave you all 3 for you to nourish, for you to value, for you to appreciate and honor by servicing these things through him. Doing something every single day that strengthens and nourishes the mental you, the physical you, and the spiritual you. He doesn't reveal to us information, insights, views, perspectives, whether they're so-called positive, so-called negative, whether they're so-called uplifting, challenging, conspiratorial, whatever you want to call them. He don't reveal this information to you for you to turn a blind eye to and or neglect. Now, if you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'm going to provide you guys with some information where you can go search out some things about the origins of this ministry and about the services that this ministry provides in an effort to help you prioritizing doing something every single day, regardless of how big, regardless of how small. Just like every day you get up, you brush your teeth, you make your bed, every single day doing something to strengthen and nourish your mental, your physical, and your spiritual. So stay tuned to the end of the video, guys. But for now, I'd like to welcome you guys a big shout out of thanks, love, and appreciation to the long-time viewers and subscribers. But having said that, if you're new to the channel, if you're somewhat new, or if you're a long-term, viewer and supporter, subscriber, I value each and every single one of you. Please know that. Receive that in your heart. So if no one's told you thus far, or no one tells you for the remainder of the day, you can get that in a very sincere way from this ministry. And if someone has told you that, then more power to you. You can just add this to the list of the positive words that you have gotten from others. So now, having said that, guys, we're going to be talking about the power of your creative words, or shall I say the creative word, the creative power of your words. This is a real thing, guys. This is a real thing. And unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of us kind of intentionally or unintentionally, tacitly or assertively, we kind of don't address this fact. We're taught all the time about what we should put into our body, but we're not taught or we're seldom taught about being careful about the things that we put into our mind. When it's the things that you put into your mind that supersedes even the things that you put into your body, believe it or not. We're all familiar with the placebo and the nocebo effect, which are born out of your thoughts and your beliefs. What you put into your mind. The placebo effect, as most of you guys, if not all of you guys, are familiar with, the placebo effect, where they had people that were chronically and irreparably, ill. There was nothing that could cure them, and they gave them, a empty pill, basically a pill that had nothing but salt in it, an empty pill, and they told them, "Hey, man, this is a new cure. It's just been developed. It's on the market. You got it at the last minute. It's going to save you. It's going to make you better." And they gave it to clients. They gave it to people that were, again, irreparably ill. No repair for them. And based on their beliefs, which is a form of thoughts, as you know, based on their thoughts that this was going to cure them, miraculously, inexplainably, from a scientific standpoint, or a what we would call a common sense or rational standpoint, inexplicably, they were healed. That's the placebo effect, all based on what they put into their minds, their thoughts. The nocebo effect works the exact same way, but in opposite. So a person that's constantly putting negative stuff into their bodies, that did the same exact studies. Called people into a room and told them this pill is going to make you break out into a sweat. This pill is going to make you have cramps in your lower back. This pill is going to make you your ears are going to start ringing. We're just doing a scientific experiment here. We're proving this drug. People signed up as a volunteer. They got paid to be a volunteer. And from a scientific standpoint, whether it was these people ears ringing in a verifiable way, or whether it was them, getting up all of a sudden falling over somewhat because they had lower back pain, their feet were cramping, or if they literally broke out in sweats, even though same empty pill. So your thoughts, particularly those of you whose hearts are in the right place, you have the ability to create more limitlessly than those whose hearts are in a dark place. But all human beings, the good book says, at the end of days, his spirit will be poured out upon all of human beings. It rains on the just and the unjust. So all human beings, particularly in this day and age, have access to these powers. And truth be told, we've always had access to these powers. Hence the old saying, mind over matter. It's just that now in these days, the truth about it is becoming more and more prevalent, more and more verifiable, and it's becoming more and more mainstream. And those of you who carry the light, you have an overwhelming, more abundant capability to be able to create with your thoughts / your mind. Now, as I said, with the placebo and or the nocebo effect, you can create and or destroy with the power of your mind. The creative, magical powers, what we would call magical, just for a term of reference. The creative powers, the magical powers of your own thoughts to create and or destroy. This is what the good book means when he says, I am the light and the darkness. I give life and I cause death. I am the creation and the destruction. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the need for us to make sure that we wholly take this in and embrace this truth, because the powers that be know this, and the chosen ones, those of us who are saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, set aside, chosen warriors, whatever you want to refer to us as, we have the overwhelming ability to literally affect the physical reality, the physical outcomes in our lives, in the lives of others, in the lives of collective society. We have the ability to control these things in a very tangible, not in some, airy-fairy or, mythical type of way, in a very literal way. And the scientists know this. The powers that be know this. And so the chosen ones have always been targeted and said, well, let's introduce this into their life, this person, this belief system, the surroundings, whatever. Let's inject this and get them to thinking from a placebo standpoint, a negative standpoint, and they will unintentionally do the job of the slave masters, if you will, the spiritual slave master, those who are the less than 1% that really, really control the destiny or the direction of humanity on this planet. The chosen ones unknowingly end up doing their dirty work for them, all based on the power, the magical power of our thoughts. Let's get into it a little bit further, guys. Let's go here. Let's see, where am I at? Almost 11 minutes. Now, there is a video that's going to be a follow-up to this video, and I believe that message is going to be titled Exploring the Light and the Darkness, or the Good and the So-Called Evil. Because even though I'm telling you this, and you got to take responsibility for how your thoughts affect yourself and the world around you, we can't be afraid. We can't be dismissive. We can't be put off and afraid to search out what we would call the dark side. Remember, anything that's relative to the human experience, particularly when it's significant and substantive. If it's relevant, if it's significant and it's substantive to the human experience, then we as chosen ones have to be able to put our light on it. Don't let nobody tell you, and that's why I'll be making this follow-up video. Don't let no one tell you, well, if you're thinking about that, pardon me, you're helping to create that. That's only true if and when you fall out of balance. And you're always thinking about, you're always researching, you're always addressing the dark side, the destructive side, what we would refer to as the evil side of humanity. If you fall out of balance, then you run that risk of attracting and creating those things in. But long as you remain balanced, just like your mind, your body, and your spirit, whichever one of those areas you neglect, you are weak in, then where do you think the enemy is going to come for you? So we can't be afraid to address this dark side, because this dark side is exactly what the enemy is using to work against us and counting on us to say, well, I better not think about that. I better not address that. I better not focus on that. And they can still sit behind the curtain and pull the strings, because most people in humanity have been taught to say, hey, just stay here. Stay inside this little safe, comfortable box, and where my attention goes, energy flows. Hey man, look, if you had a stone in your shoe and you were just continuing to walk and neglect that, refusing to address that, how do you think that's going to work out for you? If there was a weight issue, a health issue, a financial issue, a relationship issue that you were made aware of, but you decided you're not going to address that because it's not positive, how do you think that's going to work out for you? So this is again, that's a follow-up video. We'll talk about that later, and we'll get back into today's message, because again, we have to take responsibility for this truth, and we have to approach this truth in a very balanced and a very synthesized way or form. Again, balance. Balance. You are what you think about all day long. That's what you are. And if you're denying, refusing, or afraid to address the dark side of humanity, the dark side of your neighbors, the dark side of yourself, then you're basically putting out, unintentionally in most cases, unknowingly in most cases, you're basically putting out an energy of fear, an energy of denial, an energy of insufficiency. Like you're not strong enough, or a person is not strong enough to address that. They're not anointed enough to address that. So you're walking around with this energy, and it's all Pollyannic and rainbows and unicorns in your world, and that's not the way the world exists. When you go outside, every day is not sunny. Sometimes there's rain, sometimes there's snow. So we have to be able to address them both in a very balanced way. And that balanced way is a way that when you're not afraid to address how the enemy is working against you, when you're not afraid to address your own shortcomings, when you're not afraid to address conspiracy theories, and you're still going to investigate the positives. What's the real meaning of life? What is this thing that we call God? How can I really be a better person? How can I put more into humanity of what I want to see in humanity? How can I do these things? How can I help somebody? How can I be of assistance? How can I lead by example? When you're walking around in a balanced way, then you're putting strength out. You're putting spiritual confidence out. This is what's embodied within you. And most people aren't going to get it. They're going to go. Their systems, their ability to process this, because you're not what we would call alpha male, and you're not a coward either. You're not concerned about necessarily, we all want to be loved and appreciated, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day whether you're loved or appreciated, whether you are hated or despised, whether you are accepted or rejected by mainstream. Ultimately, what matters is truth. The good book says they follow the lamb / the truth wherever it leads. So ultimately, that's what you're concerned about. That's your primary focus in life. And when you are walking around aware, consciously, in a very deliberate, in a very vigilant and determined way to be able to research and be aware of the light and the darkness, then you're putting out all of this powerful energy. And even though most people scanners, when it comes to their ability to process it and understand it, because it's so unique and so rare, you're so unique and so rare, people are going to, even though they're going to feel that way, you're still going to be uplifting them, inspiring them, motivating them, just based on the thought that they're seeing something that they've never seen. Now, some people ain't going to get it. It's not meant for them to get. We're not going to focus on that. We know this is the truth. Some people are just going to remain disciples of darkness, just like we're going to remain disciples of this thing that we call the kingdom of heaven or God. So we have to be walking around being aware of the fact that our thoughts, what we're thinking about, is literally affecting in a positive or a negative way our 3D, what we would call 3D reality. Because you are what you think about all day long. Now, the good book describes it like, be it unto you according to your beliefs. Be it unto you according to your beliefs. What are beliefs? Things that you have taken in to embrace as being the truth. This is what you believe. Where do those beliefs come from? Beliefs are born out of thoughts. The thoughts that you had. See where this goes? The thoughts are made up of words. You don't have a thought that it's just a blank thought. No, it's born out of words. You can express, you can articulate, you can put those thoughts together by words, all in your mind. The power, the creative power of your words. Let me try and speed this up, guys. I'm at 20 minutes essentially. So again, be it unto you according to your beliefs, good or bad, positive or negative, success or failure. The good book also says that we are created in the image and the likeness of God. The image and the likeness of God. We know what image and likeness means. So if we're created in the image and the likeness of God, then it only serves to reason that we are similar and like gods. And how did God create everything? With his what? Great. With his words, exactly. He just simply says to something, be, and it is. Now, there's this misguided notion, or this unlearned or maybe uninitiated, if you will, notion that when God spoke these words, like he actually verbalized these words. And while that's true, from a certain perspective and from a certain point of factuality. It doesn't mean that this infinite power had to speak a single word. Now we know the universe is made up of light, sound, and vibration. So there is some factuality to he spoke these words verbally, but it's not needed. You don't have to speak these words out loud. This is an infinite power that we're talking about, guys. This power is not limited to having to verbalize something. It's infinite power. And so what am I saying? We're creating an image and a likeness of this thing so we don't have to speak words out loud. The magical power of your words is made up of the words that are spoken out loud, verbalized, and the unspoken word. Both of these are creative, magical aspects of your mind. Remember the placebo effect and the nocebo effect? At no point did they walk around verbalizing these things out loud, where they're going to be a success, they're going to be a failure, they're not going to get healed, they're going to get healed. There's no need. It's their unspoken word. So the point behind that is this. Let's go right back to what I just said. You are what you think about all day long. Now, when you speak these words out, you can add power. You can, kind of say, well, if we were using the football analogy, you can run the ball up the middle. You can run the ball across the, out on the ends. You could throw the deep ball. You could throw the slant. There's different ways that you can go about getting that touchdown. So it's the same way when it comes to the magical power of your mind, which is, again, composed of your words. The words that you speak day in and day out, and the words that you think day in and day out. There's a symbiotic connection. So again, you can speak these words out, you can literally verbalize these words, but you are what you think about all day long, whether you're speaking them out or not. And that energy that you have, positive or negative, whether you're speaking it out or not, it's affecting your literal 3D physical reality. It's no secret that most people or disease, is running rampant here on this planet. It's because most people are in that constant state of dis-ease. And this is all they think about. Day in and day out, being caught up in the traffic, not having enough time, maybe not having enough money, not being able to get to the gym, relationship problems, world wars, crashing, economy possibilities, soaring prices, just always in a state of dis-ease. And for those of us who are initiated, we have learned the key. People see me all the time, particularly my students, my clients, and even just random people. They may have no idea that I'm in the storm just as they are. I have clients tell me, man, you just seem like you got it all together. Like you're never down. You're so upbeat. I'm going through the storm as well. But for those of us who are a bit more initiated, we have learned, we've been taught through this thing called God and the anointing that he has on our lives. Not to say that we're bigger or better. We're just different, whether that's better or worse. But we've realized that even though we're in the storm, we refuse to let that storm get in us. We refuse to let that storm, we refuse to be consumed by that storm. Yeah, we don't walk around here faking it and shaking it and all of that BS. We hurt. We struggle. We have disappointment. We have, irritated. We were irritated at times, let down. We got our own struggles with our own personal development, just like everybody else. But we refuse to allow those things to cause us to fall out of balance when it comes to what we're thinking about, what we're focused on. And we're not in denial of those, headaches, challenges, or whatever, we address them head on as well, knowing that we must continue to have that balanced approach. There's that word again. Pardon me. Let me try and speed this up, guys. So it's both your spoken word and your unspoken word. We got to remember this. Remember what the good book says you are. Be it unto you according to your faith. Your faith is made out of what you believe, which your beliefs are made out of your words. The creative, magical, creative powers of your words. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there's a symbiotic connection between the spoken words and the unspoken word. Different ways for you to score a touchdown. And then there's also a symbiotic connection between your words, your thoughts, and your beliefs, as I just mentioned. Your beliefs are a form of thoughts. Your thoughts, obviously, are made up of words. Your thoughts which equals made up words. These thoughts control essentially what you believe. What you believe and your thoughts control how you feel. The way you feel controls your emotions. The way you feel controls your emotions. Yeah, there's a bit of a difference. Because I can feel scared, and then it's going to cause me, because I feel scared, it's going to cause a person to have an emotion of fear. So there's a little bit of difference. But either way, you see where this is going? You see how it's all born out of your thoughts, your words, your thoughts being made up of your words? And your feelings going to control your emotions, and your emotions, 9 times out of 10, unless he has you in a certain place, most people live their lives based on their emotions, not by the facts, not by, not through self-control, self-discipline, not by what's right or what's wrong. It's by their emotions. They feel this way, and that's the way they move. Emotional discipline is a real thing, guys, but we'll save that for another video. But controlling your thoughts and deciding that, hey, man, I may not can control what happens, but I can certainly control how I respond to it, how I deal with it, how I address it. Because unfortunately, for most people, as I mentioned, their emotions is going to control their decisions, and their decision is going to control their destiny. Now, all this is born out of words, your creative words. So be these words that lead to the thoughts, again, which are made up words. You can always trace your thoughts. When you have that thought, you can decode that word. You can decode that thought. You can assess, analyze, understand that thought, and you can put it into words. See how this is all going right back to the point and the critical message of, or the critical crescendo, if you will, of this message, which is the power, the magical power of your words to create and or destroy. So if you're thinking negatively all day, and most people are just letting their minds wander, they're pissed off about this, they're anxious about that, they're fearful of this, they're tough guy about that, they're arrogant about this, they're deceptive about that, disingenuous about this, whatever negative things that they're about, then they're affecting their reality. And it's affecting people around them, whether they know it or the people around them know it. If, again, depending on where you are in your own particular journey and timeline that he has you on, you can notice that when somebody that comes around that's negative, before you know it, you're not feeling so positive if you're not careful. And the same thing when you notice when somebody comes around you that's positive and upbeat. You notice, wow, I feel like, I can do this. Everything is going to be okay. That person's energy is affecting you. And it takes a certain level, if you will, according to his will for your life and everybody else's life. You have to be on a certain level to decide that I'm not going to be affected by that negative energy and that positive energy. I will embrace that and I will reciprocate that. So, thoughts/words, control your feelings. Your feelings are going to control your emotions. Your emotions are going to control, has an effect on your decisions, and your decisions obviously have an effect on your destiny. So now, if you'd like some follow-up, if you have follow-up questions about this or any other subject matter, hey, listen, I'm going to leave that email link down in the description box. Let me prepare to get out of here, guys. So, again, a holistic mind, body, and spirit ministry. If anything that I've said about taking this approach to your life and getting to that holistic health, mental, physical, and spiritual health and wellness, there's some services, some specific services that are provided by this ministry to help you achieve such a goal. So I invite you guys to watch a video that's titled MBS Service Tutorial. Not only is it going to lay out the specific services that are provided and offered by this ministry, it's also going to go into each category of services and describe what they consist of, how they're implemented, and how they can be beneficial to you and your loved ones. Please visit the physical fitness branch of the ministry located at mountfitnessmbs.com. And if you have any follow-up questions, or if perhaps you're interested in scheduling your initial consultation and evaluation in any or all of the different services, then hit the email link. I'd love the opportunity to speak with you further. If you got value out of today's message, then please, each one teach one and each one reach one. Hit the share button, if you will, please. There's somebody that may literally, and I say this a lot, but it's true. Someone may be out there that are standing on the edge, whether that's literally on the edge or metaphorically on the edge. They're about to give up. They're about to break. They're about to quit. They're about to turn to the dark side because being positive and all these different things just doesn't seem to be working for them. You can make a difference, guys. That's the most important button of all when it comes to this ministry. It's the share button. Please hit the share button, guys. And then if the Holy Spirit moves you to do so, then please also hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed, and then hit the bell icon if you'd like to receive notifications when I upload a new message. If the Holy Spirit moves you to make a monetary donation to this ministry, I'm going to leave a Cash App link down in the description box for you to do so. And remember that any good seed that you pour into this ministry, I promise you, because He has promised you. Remember, your thoughts, receive it by faith, guys. Because He has promised you that when you take good seed and plant in good ground, you will receive an abundant harvest, shaken down, pressed together, and running over. And any kind of way that you pour good seed into this ministry, whether it's a financial donation, just making sure that you hit the subscribe, the share, all these good things, He's promised to be a helper to those who are a helper of others. And when you plant seeds to help this ministry or anybody else or any other thing that's positive for that matter, you're planting a seed. So if and when you find yourself in need, He's going to make sure that there's somebody there to help you. He's always a helper to those who are a helper of others. So do those things if you will, please. Doesn't matter if you donate $1, $100 or more. It doesn't matter if you just hit the like, the subscribe, and the share. If you leave a comment, if you investigate and utilize the services, any kind of way that you pour into this ministry, He'll pour more into you. He'll pour more into me and this ministry. And I, by way of Him, can pour more right back into you. It's a symbiotic thing, guys. There's that word again. Hey, listen, I love all you guys whose hearts are in the right place. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. If you want some specific information on what steps you could take to really, really mind your thoughts, feelings, emotions, to really, really develop the spiritual courage that's required for you to investigate the dark side, humanity, dark side about humanity, about yourself, relationship changes you need to make, the path that mankind's on, or if you need some information, some insight on how you could stay more upbeat and stay positive as you go through the ringers and the challenges of this storm that is most commonly referred to as life, guys. Remember, this is a holistic mind, body, and spirit ministry. So regardless of what you're faced with, what you're going through, you have been anointed to make sure that your mind, your body, and your spirit remains as beautiful, as vibrant, and as healthy as possible. You've been anointed for such a thing, and this ministry has been anointed to help you achieve such a purpose. Reach out if I can be of assistance to you guys. Thanks again for all the love and support. I will see you guys in the next one. I am Brother Minister Mongoose, and I will holla back. Peace.